Thank you, Dean Daly. I think I was going to start with the one piece of advice I agree with almost everything you said except for, I'm not sure about the skydiving and breaking your back. Hello and congratulations to the class of 2018 and to your parents, families, and friends. Greetings from a graduate of the class of 1986. When I sat where you are today, Madonna's Papa Don't Preach was the #1 song. It was a great year at the movies with Stand By Me and Ferris Bueller. And Magic Johnson dominated the NBA. In 1982, I left the small town of Petaluma in Northern California at the age of 17 to come to USC, having been to Los Angeles only twice before. I wasn't sure what I was getting myself into, but I wanted to leave home and start anew. When I started college, I was immature, naive, and selfish. I graduated 4 years later a changed person. I had a business degree, a certificate in public accounting, and a well-earned measure of humility. I was ready to start my career. In the years since, the friends and mentors I met at USC have helped me find my way. They call me out when I'm wrong, encourage me when I'm struggling, and help me celebrate when I succeed. I am forever grateful. In fact, the entire trajectory of my career has been a series of unexpected opportunities, always with a big assist from the Trojan family. Right after college, I worked at Arthur Young, where Warner Brothers was one of my clients. A couple of years later, I earned my MBA from a school in Palo Alto whose name I won't mention, and started a digital data company in the city of Commerce with a few USC classmates. We failed spectacularly. I guess this is where I impart the first of many life lessons that are mandatory in commencement speeches. Failure is not the end. It's embarrassing, it's humbling, and it's hard, but it's also a great teacher. I learned to pick myself up and keep going. With QuickTax behind me, my then fiance, who's sitting in the second row, Sandy, told me I needed to get a real job before we got married. She was holding on me. I reached out to Reg Harper, class of 1977, who I knew from Arthur Young, and he got me an interview at Warner Brothers. One of my first jobs at the company was overseeing the studio's investment in theme parks. This has come full circle for me as we're opening Warner Brothers World Abu Dhabi later this summer. Come visit. I'll be taking tickets. I gradually took on more responsibility and ended up leading the home entertainment group. Along the way, I learned a second life lesson. Responsibility isn't given, it's taken. Step up, do your homework, take on the extra tasks, and be ready when the next opportunity comes your way. As president of home entertainment, I saw the division as DVD sales began to decline. Digital was not yet widely embraced, and every article written about our business started with the line, as the bottom continues to fall out of the home entertainment market. I'm happy to report the home entertainment group is doing just fine. Consumers are buying and renting digital movies and TV shows in unprecedented numbers, and Warner Brothers remains a category leader. In 2013, I was named CEO of the entire company and have had the honor of leading what I believe is the most creative and innovative management team in the industry. Obviously, a lot of them, like you, are Trojans. And this brings me to my third life lesson. As I mentioned, I started out as an accountant, and today I oversee the entire studio. Miracles do happen. As the head of the studio, I'm thrilled that I get to work with creators of films, television shows, and video games, as well as next generation VR and AR. And while creating content is at the heart of everything we do, Warner Brothers is a multifaceted global entertainment company with offices around the world, including a rapidly increasing presence in China. Today, our competition is as much from the tech sector, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google, as it is from other media companies. As I'm sure you're aware, we're in the age of great disruption, which is forcing us to think about our business differently. It's challenging, but it also brings great opportunity for Warner Brothers, the industry, and for all of you. It's my job to identify the best of those opportunities and help the company make the most of them. For example, great content has always been valuable, but in this rapidly changing ecosystem, it's more valuable than ever. That's why we work so hard to partner with the world's best creators and then give them the freedom and financial support they need to tell their stories on every platform. That makes good business sense, but it's more than that. I believe in the power of what we create. The stories we tell can help us see the world through someone else's eyes. They can start conversations, help bridge our differences, and bring us closer together. Stories can drive social change and bring about justice, and they can also just be a whole lot of fun. I'm sure many of you feel the same way. Going back to the early days of our studio, the four immigrant brothers who founded the company had an idea about the power of film. The Warner Brothers made I Am a Fugitive from a Chain Gang, a film that led to prison reform. Black Legion dealt with the Ku Klux Klan. Black Fury looked at the mistreatment of coal miners. And They Won't Forget tackled prejudice and lynching in the Deep South. These were all fact-based, hard-hitting exposés reflecting America's social problems, and they were all made almost 90 years ago. So the power of entertainment isn't a new idea, but today it's more important than ever. In our effort to maintain our relevance and our creative excellence, we need new voices to tell new stories. Stories that reflect the world around us, from the faces we see on screen to those writing the scripts, running the sets, or making the magic happen in the editing room. As the next generation of content creators, you have the power and perhaps even the obligation to create content that reflects the world around us. You might ask, why is this so important to me? It's because I'm the child and grandchild of Japanese Americans who were interned by the US government simply because of their race. They were deemed different, not American, or at least not American enough, and therefore a threat. And this happened right here in California less than 75 years ago. If the country had embraced the value of diversity, inclusion, and representation, and the benefits they bring to all of our people, I'm certain that broader minds would have prevailed. Maybe then Executive Order 9066, which cleared the way for the internment of Japanese Americans, wouldn't have been signed. Unfortunately, here we are in 2018, back to talking about closing borders and building walls. I know bridges are a better solution, and entertainment can definitely serve as one of those bridges. As a kid in the 1970s, I didn't see a lot of people who looked like me on television. Granted, we watched mostly sports, cementing my lifelong loyalty to the San Francisco Giants. But it felt like the only Asians I saw were Mrs. Livingston on The Courtship of Eddie's Father and Arnold on Happy Days. Those were my role models. While we still have a long way to go, I'm happy to report that 40 years later, things are getting better. Movies and TV shows like Wonder Woman, Coco, Blackish, Fresh Off the Boat, Orange is the New Black, Will and Grace, and others prove that audiences will flock to see great stories well told. And it doesn't matter whether the characters are black or white, Asian or Latino, whether they're male or female, gay, straight, or transgender. It turns out that diversity isn't just good for storytelling, it's good for business. Research has shown diverse audiences want to see diverse content, and the most diverse shows are the most profitable. I know that more than a few of you out there saw the billion-dollar blockbuster Black Panther. Which unfortunately wasn't a Warner Brothers film, but it was directed by a USC Film School alum. At Warner Brothers, we've made diversity and inclusion a top priority. We're looking everywhere, on screen, on set, in our offices and across the industry. And we're asking ourselves what more we can do to increase access, to further representation, and to make our content and our industry look like the world around us. Our commitment includes supporting community partners that teach industry skills and provide internships to students and young adults. Working with the Los Angeles Unified School District, we've launched pilot programs that teach kids storytelling skills because everyone has a story worth telling. It doesn't matter whether or not they go on to work in the entertainment industry. If these students learn to believe in the value of their own stories and the power of their own voices, they can change the world. On the content front, we've also made important strides. From our television series Queen Sugar and Black Lightning, to films such as Wonder Woman and Crazy Rich Asians opening in August, which is the first major studio release to feature an entirely Asian cast in 25 years. And was directed by another USC alum, John Chu. At Warner Brothers, we strive to create content that represents diverse points of view that would have been missed if it weren't for the unique experiences of its creators and stars. Across the board, producing entertainment that appeals to broader and more diverse audiences is both a moral imperative and a competitive advantage. And this is where you, the class of 2018, can make a difference. In fact, I'm counting on it. And the rest of the industry is counting on it too. A little earlier, I told you why this was personally important to me. In 1986, my parents sat where your families and friends are sitting today. Despite what they experienced, they didn't become bitter or negative. They refused to be defined by their circumstances and instead focused on creating a better life for their family. My father started an egg business and put his 5 kids through college. After everything he'd gone through, he wanted for us what every parent wants for their kids, to feel like we belonged and that we were part of something bigger than ourselves. So here's another life lesson. Sometimes your parents are actually right. Today, that sense of belonging is something I want for all of us. When the Civil Liberties Act of 1988 was signed, granting reparations to Japanese Americans, President Reagan said, "America stands unique in the world, the only country not founded on race, but a way, an ideal." That ideal has evolved over time, but it's still incredibly powerful. No matter where you're from, what you look like, or who you love, what God you worship, or none at all, your story matters, your voice matters, you are welcome here, and you have much to contribute. In the years ahead, I look forward to hearing what you have to say. I'm sad that my father wasn't alive to see me become the CEO of Warner Brothers. I know he would have been shocked, not because he didn't think I was qualified for the job, but because he never would have thought I'd have the access or the opportunity. Thanks to him, I did have that opportunity. And now it's our responsibility to make sure those same opportunities are available to future generations. On the subject of fathers, I'd like to leave you with this. Ryan Coogler, class of 2011, was at the studio the day I found out my son, and our son, Matthew, got accepted to USC. Yeah. Now, Ryan's a busy guy. This was right after Black Panther opened, and I was about to beg him to make a movie for Warner Brothers. But I had to start the meeting by talking about how proud I was of my son. I'm not sure what Matthew will major in or what he'll do with his life, but I know, like all of you, he'll be armed with a Trojan education, a sense of belonging, and a story to tell. With that, he and you can change the world. Congratulations again, class of 2018. Thank you.